All right, so we are back. After 75 days of posting to YouTube every day, I hit this moment where I was like, I need a break. So I took a break. It was a week, and through that week, it was perfect. It allowed me to process everything because there was this phenomenon in the YouTube videos I was creating, and you might have this similar problem, which is why I want to share it. Is essentially you have the videos that were hyper structured that had a ton of value weren't performing as well as the videos that were like kind of on the fly and had a little bit less information, and value put in it. And I was like, this makes zero sense. Like, I'm creating value, I'm walking you through the process, and you're dropping off versus the other ones were just kind of like whimsically sharing value in a conversation and, walking you through important factors. And I'm like, what's the difference here? What is the difference? And I found the answer, and that's what I want to share with you today. Because if you're somebody like me, you have a lot of information, you have a lot of value, you have a lot of stuff that you love to talk about, and you want to share with the world. And the one thing that kind of hurts you is like, I'm sharing my heart here, and nobody wants to watch. But in the essence of it, it's not the presentation, it's not the information or the value that you're creating, it's the way you're presenting it. And if you think about this, think about the people you watch on YouTube or Instagram, whatever, TikTok, whatever you do, whatever you watch on. Think about there's two types of people, right? And they can have the same exact information, but you have the people that you love and the people that you like. And though they're the exact same background and information and value, there's a big difference that they're doing that separates them. And that's what I'm going to share with you in today's video is like, what is the difference between the two types of content? And it's really simple. And if you break it down, it comes to one factor of just like, are they presenting or are they making you feel like you're a part of a conversation with them? And that is the gold. And if you think about it, the content that you continually go back to is it makes you feel like you're in the room with the person, and it has this like sense of like one-on-one connection, like you're the only person talking on the screen. Does that make sense? And I think a big secret to creating content to people like this is to essentially, instead of looking at the camera, and I think this is where a lot of people get tied up, is they look at the camera and they're great until you turn on the camera, and as soon as the camera is in front of them, they're like, and it's like, all that thing is doing is going to capture what you're doing very well and give you the ability to share it with the world. But it's like the insecurities come out and it's like, it's got to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. Like, perfectionism actually holds you back on your way to success rather than winging it and just being yourself. Like when you allow yourself to be yourself, people can feel it. And not only that, like, when you're able to be yourself and allow yourself to capture it and share it with the world, that's when the magic happens. So how can you share that magic with the world? I think there's two types of content styles. You have the lecture and the conversation. And to put it quickly, is like the lecture is for somebody who wants to grab and get information quickly, and they're the person who is like, they're looking for that 10 seconds of information and they only have 5 seconds to go, get it. They're essentially running around on social media and they're like, I gotta find it now because they got a job doing, they got a client and a budget, and they're like, yeah. Versus like the conversational type of content style is more like this. It's more or less like, let's have a conversation. Let me share with you some knowledge and wisdom. This is not high stress. This is very low stress. This is very whimsical. This is very relaxed. But you're the only person in the room here with me, and I'm sharing with you the most valuable information that I can think of in this moment because you're willing to listen. And because you're willing to listen, I'm going to share the value that you're looking for. And because we're both not in a rush, this creates a greater sense of connection rather than like, in this video, you're going to learn A, B, C, and D, and by the end of it, you're going to feel this, and before you even get there, you're going to click off because you got the information that you came for, and you're going to bounce and use it for whatever you need, and though you're subscribed to this channel, you're not going to follow it or engage with it because you're only here to take from it, You know what I mean? And that is a big difference in the types of content, but essentially, if you think about it, if there's two ways to learn and absorb information, and it's the presentation model, and it's in conversation. Because if you think about it, like in conversations, we talk with one another, and a lot of people are really good in podcast and other types of that content because they're having a conversation with somebody, and somebody's prompting them to release more information, and it's creating the guidance of the track. Versus like if that person just who's very informative, just gets on camera and starts talking. They don't have the questions. They don't know what to say. They get lost in their words, and they just kind of are like, I don't know the difference between, like, I can share this in a conversation very easily, but I cannot share this for a video. What's the problem? Like, that's a typical issue I deal with some of my clients, and it's as simple as that. Is like, the best content sometimes with a videographer or somebody is like they act as like a director in it, and they're sitting on the other side of the camera having a conversation with the person. And even to the degree of like, don't look at the camera, look directly into my eyes. We're going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask you these questions. And through these questions, you're going to say exactly what you need to do. And you're going to do it so well, but we're just going to capture it, If you think about it, that's the difference between the content that you like and that you love. Is like, one feels like a piece of conversation. One feels like you're in the room with the person and you're getting a one-on-one lecture from them. And that, or not even lecture, but you're having a conversation with them. And that conversation is the key piece, because people want connection. People want value. People want to feel seen and heard, but also they want to learn and grow. And they also want to look into your life to kind of absorb your secrets, and what information you're sharing on the surface level is good, but they want that little bit below the surface level. They want that subcutaneous level. If you got a medical background, get a little bit deeper in there. But overall, if you want to improve your content, and what I've seen over my 75 days here of content and then having time to rest and digest it all, was like the content that was more conversational based and had less structure performed way better than the content that was structured and had higher value. And though that's not what I wanted to see, it's what I did see. And through testing and analysis, I was like, well, that's it. So let's create more conversational based content. And if you're somebody who watches my content, that'll probably work for you, because the law of, what do you call it? The law of attraction, or association by proxy is what I was looking for there. Because you watch my content and you engage with it, if you create content like it, other people will engage with it. Essentially is that model. So think of it that way. If you can learn how to look at the camera and think about it as your avatar, who's that person who watches your video? What is their name? How old are they? What do they look like? Is it one of your friends? And picture them at the camera instead of the camera lens or your phone or whatever you're filming on. You are going to be so much more successful, because think about it. Just think about it. Like, the only thing holding you back is the fear of the camera or whatever it is, or presenting. When, in short, you can have a conversation, and if you have these conversations with people every day, it'll be so much easier, because you're just having a conversation and you're pushing a little button that's showing you how great your conversation is going to be at the end of the day. I don't know. That's just what I think. I'm curious to hear what you guys think, and if you drop that in the comments below, I'd love to pick your brain, and also it could give me more topics to share with you guys on. So thank you so much. We're back. Let's keep this momentum going. Have a good day. Thank you. Peace out.